Good morning. I call to order the informal meeting of the plenary to hear a briefing on the UN80 initiative. I would like to take this opportunity to warmly welcome all of you to this briefing, and we will begin with a statement from the President of the General Assembly, so myself. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to join you for the second in a series of monthly briefing of the UN80 initiative. Before turning to the topic of our briefing today, I would like to briefly highlight three areas of positive momentum. First, the informal ad hoc working group on mandate review continues to advance in earnest, and I welcome the constructive engagement of all delegations. I encourage member states to sustain this level of ambition and engagement with a view to meeting the agreed timeline at the end of March. Second, I thank the Secretariat for publishing the UN80 dashboard to enhance transparency and accessibility of information. This is a valuable tool for member states, as we discussed together, to follow developments across the work streams, particularly between our regular briefings, and I encourage all delegations to make full use of it. And third, the meetings of the executive boards over the past few weeks have revealed broad political support for the UN80 initiative. And again, thanks. I think this is really through to the engagement we had here in the last months, that also now in capitals and ministries, and in this regard then in the boards, there's a new drive for implementing all the different reform steps. Delegations have been clear: reform efforts must not be an end in themselves. They must translate into tangible improvement on the ground without sacrificing this organization's ability to deliver on its mandates and to deliver for the people. Ladies and gentlemen, today we will hear from Mr. Guy Ryder, Under-Secretary General for Policy, who will provide a general update on the UN80 initiative, as we have done before. Also from Tom Fletcher, Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator, OCHA, who will brief us remotely on the new humanitarian compact and will be complemented by Ms. Catherine Russell, Executive Director of UNICEF, by Ms. Amy Pope, Director General of IOM, joining in person. Thank you very much for being here today with us, and Mr. Barham Salih, High Commissioner for Refugees, and Mr. Matthew Hollingworth, Assistant Executive Director of the World Food Programme, joining virtually. We will also be joined virtually by Mr. Salidis Mavala, Rector, United Nations University, Training and Research, and Ms. Michelle Gills-McDonough, Executive Director, United Nations Institute for Training and Research, UNITA, who will both brief on training and research. I would like to thank the Secretariat for circulating the pre-briefing materials ahead of time. Again, something we discussed last time, so thank you very much that we follow up on all discussions in details, and I hope all delegations have had an opportunity to look through them because you asked for them in advance. As the Secretary General's report emphasized, humanitarian action is stretched to a breaking point. Conflicts are multiplying, disasters are intensifying, humanitarian workers are under attack, and respect for international humanitarian law is eroding. Given this context, it is more critical than ever to deliver better for those in crisis contexts. In this regard, the vision of the new humanitarian compact, aimed at delivering more effectively, more rapidly, and with increased accountability, necessitates our careful consideration. Furthermore, training and research are central to the UN's work in building knowledge, capacity, and evidence for informed decision-making. Therefore, it is of utmost importance to ensure coordination and non-duplications of these efforts across the UN system to produce high-quality, accessible insights that strengthen the impact of our work. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, unfortunately, since I last addressed you, the liquidity crisis is not as positive as the reform process. We are facing a situation we hardly faced before. This only adds more urgency to what I shared with the General Assembly in my priority speech last month, which is that reform will have no meaning at all if this institution has no funds to function. I therefore call on every member state, as the SG did, and as I have in my recent travels and engagement, whether in Geneva, with capitals or with regional groups, to pay your dues in full, and for those of you who haven't paid yet, on time. At the same time, we must also address the structural flaw in the current financial rules that requires the UN to return unspent funds that were never collected, creating a self-defeating and unsustainable cycle. I therefore count on you to stand up, to make the difficult but necessary decision to find compromise and to make an efficient, effective United Nations a reality for all the people it serves. Especially in these times, this is the most noble thing we can do.